What are we playing? Just nothing.
Just jamming. I grew up listening to Bollywood movies because my mum would watch them all the time, and for some reason there was one song that stuck. Zindagi aar ke tum ek nayi jang hai, jeete jaenge hum, jeete jaenge hum, dua ke jang hai.
Oh, unbelievable. How good is that? Guy, thanks for joining me on the tea break.
Pleasure.
Great to have you here in your studio.
Yes, we've spent some time in here.
We have
Yes.
spent a bit of time in here. I've got a lot more time to spend in here, I think. if
Yes.
Mate, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about your cricket skills first. You've dropped a catch and you've hurt yourself. What's happened
It's
there?
a bad time to talk about my cricket skills or lack thereof. I grew up playing cricket. I loved cricket in the summer and AFL in the winter. That was pretty standard for growing up in Adelaide. I've always loved cricket, and then obviously life happened, and sort of music became pretty prominent, and I got busy, and then I couldn't play any cricket, and I really missed it. And then this competition came up. It's like a 2020 comp. It's called LMS, and it's
Last
done,
man standing,
last
right?
man
Yeah.
stands, yeah, and it's done in 2 hours. So it's really it's really good. And I was playing it on just last week, and I went for a catch on the outfield and misjudged the catch, and it literally just hit my thumb directly. I didn't really care about my finger at the time because I was embarrassed and I felt bad.
Oh, there's nothing worse than dropping a catch.
The guy who was bowling actually took a catch off my bowling the previous over, so it made me feel even worse.
Oh, no.
Just kept blowing up, and then the next day it was still hurting, so I went and got it X-rayed, and it's all smashed up a bit and in a few pieces. So I got the weird cast on right now.
And have you been scoring any runs? I gave you one of my old bats a couple of months ago.
You did?
I haven't heard any reports on that.
Well, when I started the season, I hadn't gotten out yet, and I was getting 50s every innings when I first started, and then since using your bat, it's just been rubbish.
Oh, bad omen. Oh, no.
Definitely the bat, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm in a slump at the moment, so I need to come out of it. But yeah.
We always blame our tools.
No, the bat is good. when I do middle it, it's very impressive.
So this segment being called the tea break, I've got to
Mm-hmm.
ask the question, are you a tea or a coffee drinker?
I'm very much a coffee drinker.
Good answer.
I love my coffee. I'm a bit obsessed with the process of it. I think being in here, I spend a lot of time in the studio, and I guess it's like my smoko, like I'll go down and just take a bit of a break, but the process of making it is something I really enjoy. I've written so many songs for some reason, like when I've got a writer's block in here, because sometimes you've got the beat on loop and you're singing melodies and stuff, and you're trying to figure out what's a good chorus or whatever, and you get a bit stuck and you get a little bit pressured or something.
Yeah.
The minute I walk out of the room and just have a little bit of a break and like make a coffee, that's when ideas flow all the time. Like my current single, we were in the room, I was on a Zoom session to these producers who I wrote Choir with actually in LA, just nutting it out for ages, couldn't get something. And then when I went downstairs and started to make a coffee, my mind was more free, and I sung the whole chorus with words and stuff, and like all in a couple of minutes. So yeah, coffee, it's I don't know, I love it, bit of a ritual thing.
And I remember, speaking of like finding things that come to you, I remember we were over here having a barbecue, must have been almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
And you just got like a tune in your head and you're like, I need to step away for 5 minutes, and you were like humming a song to yourself into your phone.
Yeah, because otherwise it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it and then come back to it later.
always, yeah.
You do that all the time?
My phone is full of song ideas, and it's always a voice note, so it'll always start as a melody in my head. I'm very melody driven as a writer. Sometimes it'll come from being in the studio when I'm messing with a new synth bank or something that I've sound. So I might buy some new sounds, and in the process of playing with them, I make a beat, and then I'll write the song to the beat.
Yeah.
But always it's quite melody driven. So I'm always hearing melodies. And I don't think anything of that because I've always done that. But I had a bit of a realization moment the other day that I thought that would be a bit weird for someone who isn't inclined that way or doesn't hear things in their head.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Because I was with my stylist. We were shopping actually recently for The Voice, and I wrote this song called Cupid. And I was getting changed, and he just handed me a shirt, and I was like, hang on. And I start singing this idea in my phone. He goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just had an idea." That one you just sung in the phone, you just got in your head. And he's like, "What do you mean? It just popped in your head. From where?" And I was like, I just heard it. It was in my head. You know, Battle Scars, which is my biggest song. I pulled over on the 101 freeway in LA because that was a rare moment where I actually sung Battle Scars. Normally it's just gibberish.
Yeah.
So I'll hear the melodies, but I don't have words. So in any other instant, it'd just be like, I just sing whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I went, these battle scars don't look like they're fading, and they're never gone away. And then when I got to my destination, which was actually a writing session, I listened back. I was like, oh, battle scars. So to me, it's like sometimes songs are inspired and I'm going through something. Last night, I was actually weirdly emotional. Me and Jules saw this movie by the creator of Hamilton in the Heights. But this is like a musical like movie and we both love music. So I think we'd had all this pent up emotion. And then I started actually writing a song about my mum and I'm on the piano like bawling, you know, just like try not to cry. We're both laughing because we're crying and being weird. But then sometimes songs also like Battle Scars, it just comes and I'm like, I wasn't even thinking of the theme.
Yeah.
Like, why did I sing Battle Scars? So I find creativity so weird because you love your music. I've loved having you in the studio. The thing I love the most about music is, like I talked about last night, the effect it has on people. It just overcomes you. Like it's such a good feel. There's no feeling like picking up a guitar and being able to play a song. And I saw that in you. Every time I've seen you play, I just know that you're somebody you're obviously a passionate person, but you bring the same thing to music. I love how into it you are and how much feeling you get out of it. So honestly, that's my favorite thing. Even like being a coach on The Voice, that's the thing that makes you tick, is just looking at people and the people that get it, the people that sing for the right reasons, that just feel things.
So being a coach, obviously on The Voice, and hearing some of my stuff,
yes,
what could I do to improve? Although there's lots to improve. I mean,
we all are improving. That's the best thing about music. It's I think it's just about honing in on your craft. Like with cricket, you would practice like crazy, right? And I know you blindfold yourself and weight pick your bats and do weird stuff. But I do weird stuff when it comes to music. Like people would find it strange. But
what are some of your intricacies or
well, I
whatever
mean,
that you do?
I would sit and practice by the radio. Now imagine living with me at this time. Like I'd sit by the radio and I'd listen to, Stevie Wonder, for example. I'd listen to like Boyz II Men or something. Like my style of music was very much soul, R&B.
Yeah.
And someone would do a trick, and at the start I couldn't do it because my actual muscles weren't flexible enough and they weren't agile enough. They're the muscles that control my vocal cords.
Yeah.
And it's like anything. To be good at singing, you got to understand that it's actually a very physical process that you've got to master, and you've just got to experiment.
Yeah.
Like I might be listening to Wanye from Boyz II Men sing, and at the end, he goes off and he starts ad-libbing and he'll be like, no, and I'd be like, how the hell did he do that? As a kid, I'm like, oh, but I couldn't do it. So I'm like, I'd do it really slow.
Yeah.
And I'm talking hours.
Yeah.
So I'd just sit by the the little radio stack with the tapes at the top and the CDs and I'd be going slow. getting faster and faster until I could do it, like him. And I did it out of love. I didn't do it because I didn't take musical lessons. I did it because I wanted to master it.
So you never had any lessons?
No. The only lessons I ever had when I was young was I learnt violin for a little while, but no like piano or guitar or anything. Like I've just always wanted to, like I'd see something, I want to do that. So what do I need to do to be able to do that? And especially kids nowadays, no one's got an excuse because YouTube, what we're talking on there, literally you can do any lesson on any subject in the world. Every time I want to do something in the studio, if there's an effect I hear on a track, I'm like, how do they do that? I look it up, and I don't need to be taught it. Kids have so much access to being able to absorb nowadays.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, I don't know. I think that I love that I honed in on my craft just because of a passion. Like I wanted to do it so badly, and then inadvertently it sort of, gave me an ability that I didn't even at the start knew I had. I didn't know that it was, especially in this country where at the time R&B, that sort of music wasn't big.
How old were you when you knew you wanted to get into music?
I was pretty young when I loved music. I played a lot of sport in school, so a lot of my mates knew me more for sport.
Yeah.
And didn't really know I was musical, I don't think, until I sung in a chapel service. So I sung with a girl called Naomi Callender, and we sung One Sweet Day by Boys to Men. And it's not like now, right? Back then, nowadays everyone's like looking at the camera and doing selfie videos and singing, and like it's not a thing, especially for guys. Back then, growing up in Adelaide, it wasn't like if you sung, you were super proud and open about it. Like it was sort of weird. I don't know. Like you were always scared about what the other guys thought of you, and it was more about doing blokey things. It was a weird culture.
Yeah, I think that's changed now,
which is great. I mean, now there's just not to that toxic sort of masculinity thing doesn't hold people back as much. And so, whereas at the time I was really scared about what my mates would think because I didn't know if I was good, first of all.
So where would you do your practice? At home?
Just at home and stuff. And then at lunchtimes and stuff, you find like the music nerds, and we all hang out as music nerds. And so you're free in that space. But then I got up in chapel service and I just looked at my feet the whole time. I was so scared, and sung this song. And there's a lot of tricky bits in there. And I felt like I did all right. And then I looked up and I could see a lot of my mates' faces, and a couple of the teachers were tearing up and stuff. And I think that was the first moment I realised that what I had was worth pursuing and worth doing something with. And and I remember the feeling of people coming up to me afterwards, going, "Dude, what? I didn't know you could sing." like what? Like that feeling felt really good. It was like this, I guess that's feeding the ego a little bit, but I saw it also just as like, I've been wondering whether I should go down this path, and that all confirmed. You all confirmed it. My mates confirmed it, and so it was good.
How excited are you about going back on tour again and playing in front of fans?
That's something I'm pumped about. Like it's been a while. You start to get, if you couldn't play cricket at all, I don't know, it just sucks. Like something that represents. I feel like my voice is my offering to the world. It's like my purpose. Like I know I've got other things that I do, but I've been wondering why I've been feeling really flat and like a little bit useless. And it's because I haven't been gigging. Like I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, and I took it for granted. Just being out and having that feedback that we've been talking about. It's just, it really reinforces your purpose. And I think having a new album, I've never released this many singles off an album. It's like I set out to write this album where I took my time. It took a few years, but I thought to myself, if it doesn't feel like a single, it's not on the album. I'm about to release my 8th single, 8 off an album, which is not normal for me. Like normally I'd do like 2 or 3, then you move on. I'm excited to play all those songs that I've released. I haven't done them live to my fans yet. So just to be able to get back on the road. It's an arena tour. I was so amazed at how how hungry people are to get, see live shows again. I put these arena shows on sale and it sold out so quick. So I added another one and then I had to add another one as well. So I've added.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, it's been really cool. So I hope that, my fans know that I'm even more hungry than they are to see live music. I'm hungry to make it.
Is that different, not playing in front of people?
Oh, it's so different.
Like I've experienced it in a few cricket games where there's no one in the crowd.
Oh, of course.
And it just feels a bit eerie, doesn't it? Like you want to perform, you want to entertain in front of people. But
I guess you don't realise until it's gone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you would have been like, oh, this feels weird just to not get a cheer. That was a cracking cover drive. Like, what?
Someone give me something.
Give me something. But similarly, like, look, performers are all, as much as they think they're not, everyone's a bit fragile when you're up for review.
Yeah.
And so performers are so driven by feedback. Why do we love performing in a crowd so much? They feed us. Like, trust me, when I hit something and I hear the audience go off or whatever, it charges me. So you just keep going. And I think throughout my career, I've never been deterred by the negative voice.
Sure,
it's always going to be there, and you would know more than anyone as well. There's so many people that love you, and I learned this very early on in my career. It was probably, I would say, one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned.
Yep.
Is that we have control over where we spend our energy. Like here, and we get it wrong so much. And there's all these people that love you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this tiny little group of very loud people who just want to have a crack at anything. They just love it.
Yeah.
They love having a crack. They live for it. They're addicted to it. And the world feeds that negativity, so it gives them purpose. When you look at what you're going to focus your attention on, and you see it so often, people reposting hate or drawing attention to all of this negativity, they're not the majority, they're not the majority in our lives. And yet we choose to spend our energy on them. Because I did it early on in my career. I was like, oh, this person has said this about me, blah, 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 blah. It's not true, and this and that. Like, a fan wrote to me and said, oh, you've responded to that person. I've sent you 100 messages at least, and I've never got a response.
Right.
And I love you. I just broke into tears because I was like, you idiot, Guy. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're spending that energy on this one knob.
And you've fed his ego by replying.
Exactly. And yet here's these people that love me and they've got nothing from me. Oh. So it was like this real life lesson I learned as to where to spend your energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the secret to your longevity in your career?
Obviously, looks is a big one. I started off in a strange way in this industry. It was I was on a TV show. I was on the first Idol.
With the big afro.
With the afro, a bit chubby, bit weird looking, at the time compared to, and that was at a time where I tried for record deals, and every one of the comments back from record companies were, you don't have the look.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Jeez.
Nowadays that, not even because it's wrong, they just don't, that's not what matters anymore.
Yeah.
That is such a good change in culture.
Jeez, I love the fro.
I know.
I think you should bring it back.
But I was a bit, chubbier. I didn't have the classic pop star back then it was Justin Timberlake. It was Britney Spears. It was like, Jessica Simpson and
sure.
like Backstreet Boys and all those really kind of, they had a certain criteria to be getting signed. So I went on Idol. I had people get behind me and actually physically vote for me and spend their money so that I could do what I do.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a lot to hold up on your shoulders because I felt like I didn't want to let anyone down. And I think that's been a real driving force for me to achieve longevity. But that's the thing. It's a hard one to explain because you don't sit there going, I want to achieve longevity. I think probably if I had to sum it up, it's about constant evolution and never being satisfied.
Is that the advice you'd give to your younger self?
Oh, yeah. And to people coming up, it's like the beauty about music and even in sport, you never sit there. Like, you're never going to sit there and go, I've done it. There's nothing else to learn. Like,
I think the day you do that, it's the day you walk away. I reckon.
Yeah, or the day you do that is the day there's a new Joffre or a new bowler that comes along and works out something that you're doing.
Yep.
So you constantly got to evolve, and as a musician, you're just constantly learning, and that pursuit is what drives me. I've got this endless thing to dive into where I'm always going to be learning and growing and getting better.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that excites me, but also I'm constantly listening, always listening to music. I'm driven, and how good is streaming now, where like it just goes, if you like this person, go to this person. Like, just leads you down these paths you would never have, and you find all these artists. So I think that exploration side is what keeps me seeking out more current sounds and how to I guess move with the industry.
Yeah. Because
a lot of people stay put and they
get found out, basically.
Well, they stay put, and it's arrogantly is a terrible word. Sounds more aggressive than it needs to be, but they almost feel like the industry should not make them change and or evolve in any way, and they should keep swallowing what they're feeding them. But it's just the same.
Got it.
People who live like that won't have success in this industry. You've got to constantly think, how do I connect and still evolve my sound but not lose the heart of who I am? That's the challenge, I think, because I've done it where I did an EP and it just tanked. It was too far away. I enjoyed it musically and creatively, but I didn't see it as something that I was expecting commercial success from. It was a fun project that I love to do. So it's hard. It's so hard, as you can probably tell, to answer that question, because I mean, there's the basic stuff I can mention, but everyone knows that work ethic. Like, you got to work like a dog.
Yeah,
like you just
100%.
do. Just got to work. Be good to people. Like, I don't have many enemies. You know, it's not like I've spent my life, sort of being a dirtbag or whatever. And so I love people. I love what they can do for me in the way that I want to go, well, what can I do for you as well?
Yeah.
Whether it be my label, radio, relationships are really important.
100%. Thanks for joining us here today, Guy, on the tea break. You've been amazing. You've been great to talk to. And
good chat.
Yeah, good fun.
And if you've got time after this, I think we should definitely start writing our duet that we're going to release.
I think so. I think that'd be good, yeah.
I'll do Hindi.
Yep.
You sing in English.
Let's do it.
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, mate.